Welcome to Singapore. This garden city is a food paradise. Good morning from a rainy Singapore. It is rainy season, end of November, and it's already starting to sprinkle. I'm here on my own because I woke up early. I want to try a very iconic Singaporean breakfast and letting Alan sleep because we arrived last night into Boat Quay. This place is really mainly English, Irish pubs, restaurants that are both Indian and Mexican, and a lot of drinking tourists. However, it's also a spot that is right on the Singapore River and has some beautiful sights. We're going to go to a hawker center that is very popular with locals, very popular with the worker crowd. First impressions I have of Singapore, and the limited we had last night, was it's this great mix of old architecture, very modern buildings, but also so much green. There doesn't seem to be a lot of traffic and not a lot of people, but I am really excited to be here because I think Singapore is like no other place in the world in that it's so well thought out, and the quality of living and city planning, urban planning is so well thought out. So we're walking through right now what is the Central Business District. And the reason why I thought it would be good to start breakfast off here is that there is a very popular hawker center, but it's also up early because when it comes to business, Singapore takes it seriously. And so a lot of these hawker stalls are actually open before the center is officially open to accommodate a lot of office workers who are coming in early. Maybe you want to grab some breakfast, a bite to eat, something to drink before they head into work. And it's also very popular at lunch. While I'm waiting for the food, I just want to tell you a funny story about the first time I ate kaya toast, which was in Ipoh, Malaysia. Now, it exists both in Malaysia and Singapore, although there are some slight differences. I'll tell you about it. But when we ate it in Ipoh, I did not plan to eat it. It was not on my list. But we were in Chinatown, decided to get like a coffee break. So we went into this old school Chinese place where the servers were senior, and I think it was loud, lots of locals, it was great. And I ordered kaya toast, not knowing what it was. I looked it up on Google and it said kaya was sweet sop. So sweet sop is a dish or a fruit you find in Latin America and also Southeast Asia. So I tried the toast and I thought, oh, this doesn't taste sweet like sweet sop. That's very strange. Sweet sop almost tastes like a fruit cocktail. And so Bahasa Indonesia, the Indonesian language, is very similar to Malaysian. And so I asked Alan if he could ask them in Indonesian, because she didn't really speak English, our server, if it was sweet sop, or in Indonesian, srikaya. And I think either it was a difference in translation for what sweet sop is in Indonesian and Malaysian, or maybe she didn't hear him say Shri, and he said, is this kaya? And she said yes. So I told everyone that this dish was made from sweet sop. I have never gotten so many negative comments on my YouTube channel as when I got kaya toast wrong, and that's because it is so popular and important to Malaysian culture. The same thing here in Singapore. It's also a very common breakfast food. I'm gonna go get it, and I want to share with you what it's really all about. It is kaya, which is a coconut jam made with milk, sugar, eggs, and some pandan leaves. And in Singapore, what they do is they also, because it's toasted hot, put in some cold butter. So you get that balance of cold butter and hot toast. It's usually served with soft-boiled eggs and then also kopi, K-O-P-I, kopi. You can get a lot of different kinds of coffee in Singapore. There's like a whole lexicon of kopi O, kopi C, all the different copies. Now you can get kaya toast in both Singapore and Malaysia. However, they're slightly different. I think in Singapore, it uses pandan leaves as part of it, and so it kind of has this little bit of a tinge of green, but in Malaysia you don't get that. Also, Malaysia loves Malacca gula, or that brown sugar Malacca. And so oftentimes it's a bit sweeter. Some people in Singapore also love the sweeter version, so you might find a reference to Malaysia or Malacca, one of the most delicious towns in Malaysia. But I decided to go for the original. On the eggs, he said to put on whatever you want. I believe I put on like a sweet soy, known as kecap manis in Indonesian, regular soy, and white pepper. I don't know if it's gonna taste good, but I'm going to try this. Oh, this is good. The butter is so creamy. And then there's not a lot of kaya jam on here. It's just a little bit sweet, warm, toasty, creamy. And I'm gonna put it in here. I don't know if this is how people eat it, but I love to dip my toast in my eggs. There is so much going on here. It's so simple, but it's really good. I wanna get these details right to share with you where kaya toast comes from, because it's really about the history of Singapore, which has, 4 primary cultures where, the Europeans, the Malay, the Indians, and then also the Chinese who were here when Singapore was formed. This dish, because it's toast, obviously is not from either of those. It was influenced by British colonial traditions of having toast, but Singaporeans put their own spin on it with the kaya toast, the pandan, and then also dipping it in eggs that weren't just regular eggs, but also had the soy, the white pepper, very traditional in Chinese culture. I have to say, this is fantastic. I thought it would be really plain, but it's really good. And in Singapore, if you want something a bit fancier, you can go to a lot of brunch places that will serve like French toast kaya, or put different things in it, or some people like the traditional thin, other people like the big thick. There's also a place that's famous here that actually does whole buns, like soft buns that they cook every morning. Oh, he was so nice. He took my tray for me. But when you're in Singapore, you do have to put your trays away, or there's a fine. I think they give tourists a break, but there are actually signs everywhere to return your tray. I have to say that man was so nice. I had heard mixed reviews. Some people said he was not very kind, and other people said he was just wonderful. And so I brought a big smile, hoping that he would be nice to me, and he really was. I think the difference is it's first thing in the morning, and also understanding that people who are cooking hot stove have a lot of orders coming in. Maybe when you speak to them right away, they're not going to be like over enthusiastic or cheery, but when they have time, like he did, because he was done everything, he was just very kind to me. Such a good start to Singapore. I can't wait to eat more things. What I have noticed in a lot of these stalls is that actually there's historical, like the stall has been around for so many years, so many generations. It's a family recipe. It really seems that that is something that Singapore values, is history and traditional food, and that's what I value too. So I feel like this is my kind of place. So the plan for today is I'm going to go get Alan, wake him up, and then we're going to do all of the kind of major usual sites that people do their first time in Singapore. Also, we're going to try to get some more traditional food. And tonight I'm doing something so amazing. We were invited to an experience that's dining. Oh, I don't want to ruin it, but you must watch to the end of the video, or at least skip to the end to see this, because what we're about to do, I am so excited about. And we made it to Gardens by the Bay. This is our first look of it. It's pretty impressive. It's gray out, but that's okay. It's only lightly raining, so maybe we'll get to see some of the outside before we go inside. First impressions, this place is beautiful. It is so lush. But we're gonna go to the most popular attraction here, and that is the cloud forest, where we will be inside nice and dry. But still, this is what you see even on a rainy day. Look, it's really great. If we can, not in this video, but maybe later this week, we would actually go see the night show here, which is free. And it's when all of this lights up. I think it's at 7:45, and it's supposed to be great. We're not going to do it tonight because we've been invited to do something really fun. All right, here's the big moment. Whoa! This is the tallest indoor waterfall in the world. And wow, it really is a way to make an entrance. You can feel the water, it's so cool. I think what we're going to do, because there's a lot here, is you can start at the top. I think this is called the Lost World, and then you can kind of come down and then do this treetop walk, the cloud walk. There's a lot to see because there are a number of gardens here. This ticket, 24 Singaporean dollars, and I thought, wow, that's pricey. But as soon as you come in and you see this, you realize this is going to be worth $24. I just saw there's an orchid haven, which is pretty cool. This place also has a flower dome, which is an additional fee, but I've heard it's not as majestic as the cloud forest. So we just read a sign there that this is actually an exhibit of the Philippines, so orchids from the Philippines and the 4 different climates that are represented here. So it's interesting. It's not just, you know, walking through this cool cloud forest, but you actually do learn quite a bit. I didn't see these flowers in the Philippines. So many pretty, pretty flowers. We knew that when we came here, it would be rainy season, so it's kind of like low season. The nice thing about it is you don't have the crowds, and this is the perfect place to come on days like this where it just doesn't look like we're gonna see a blue sky today. Your mountain guide. The higher you go, the shorter the trees and shrubs, the smaller and thicker the leaves, the mossier every surface, the greater number of plants that perch up high, and the more restricted and rare species, which is actually pretty cool. Oh, that's the walk. So it's a canopy walk you can do, but you can see it's still raining outside. But it would be beautiful on a nice blue day. And then it looks like you can go up top. We've already decided our first day, we're definitely coming back to Singapore. So some things we're gonna do on this trip, some things on the next one. So I have been in cloud forest before. Ecuador has many of them, but this is just such a really nice way to experience them without having to go deep into a cloud forest where it's just wet, muddy, and lots of animals that I'm afraid of. We're done. We were in and out about an hour. It was really beautiful, definitely worth the ticket price. We have a couple of hours to rest, and then the last thing of the day should be the most spectacular, even more than this if possible. What a beautiful night. This is the perfect sunset. The views here are stunning. And when I say here, we're doing one of the most fun things I think of the day. I mean, the day is always fun, but Al and I rarely do like really big, epic things. And tonight we're doing something really, really epic, and it's right. We are taking the Singapore Flyer. Not only are we taking the Singapore Flyer, but we're actually doing one of their special programs that is food and flying. I'll share more about it, but I just want to share with you also, down here, not only do you have the Singapore Flyer, which is taller than the London Eye, but look at all of this architecture here. Because it's dusk, people are running and cycling, and just on its own, look at all of this stuff. It's so cool. But really, this is going to be the coolest. And this is what we're about to do, the 165 Sky Dining. So it is a romantic night with your special someone. And we have just checked into the VIP lounge. They told us that we could wait there until we began, but there are so many things to see here
that we just want to check it out, because this is actually where people get on to the flyer, and it looks so gigantic from here. Look, what I really love about this place though is that they have the sky flyer, but underneath all of it is just this rainforest garden. I think Singapore does this so well, has really modern elements with heritage, but then also so much greenery. And I think that's really important because Singapore is not a big place. You know, a lot of it is very urban, so they really prioritize this green space, it seems, much more than places that probably take it for granted. But it's beautiful. I would suggest, if you do this, to come to the Flyer Lounge early because sunset is beautiful, so many pictures to take, and inside they've got some lime juice and snacks. And so even though we're about to eat dinner, I think it's been so hot today, lime juice is exactly what we need. So we met Emmy, our server, in the Flyer Lounge, and we thought she was nice, but then we found out she's actually from Malang, Indonesia, which is probably the best place to have bakso, which is meatball in Indonesia. I'm actually not a fan of it, neither is Alan, but we both love it in Malang. Also home to spicy food and really nice people. So here's how it's gonna work. We have 3 rotations on this, and at each rotation we'll have something. So right now we have an amuse-bouche and starter along with Singapore sling. We chose the mocktail, but you can also have it with alcohol. Second will be the main course. Alan is having Wagyu beef, I'm having lobster, and then the third is a dessert. It's a surprise with tea or coffee. So each rotation is 30 minutes, plenty of time to sit, relax, have a good time, but also take lots of video because the views here are spectacular. This is not the highest building in Singapore, but it is the second highest rotating capsule in the world. And it was the highest until 2014 when it was built by Las Vegas, because everything needs to be bigger in Las Vegas. So we're almost at the top, 168 meters, which means that we need to start moving on our food. We've just been taking so many photos and video. It's a good thing that we're going around 3 times because we can actually try some food and then wait to shoot some more video the next time around. So this right here is the amuse-bouche. It's a gift from the chef. It changes every night. We have shrimp in a salsa and then also a smoked salmon with caviar. That's not even the beginning. This is just the amuse-bouche. Then our actual starter is we have smoked king salmon in a horseradish, and it's all very light, which I love. This, oh, I could just eat those. The shrimp with caviar or the salmon with caviar the whole time. It is delicious. So I was wrong. That was amuse-bouche starter. This is the appetizer. Amazing. This is really a fine dining event. We have now foie gras with a truffle base. We also have a salad with shaved truffle on it. This is fantastic. You get a little bit of that jam. It just makes it so much better. I don't remember the last time I had foie gras, but I was thinking that this experience here, just to see the sights and be able to take the time and sit and eat, was fantastic. And then they handed us foie. They just made it better. Now, each course has been special and a surprise, except in the main course, you get to choose. So it's a choice between a fish, Wagyu beef cheeks, which Alan wanted, and then I have the lobster in a convoy sauce with buckwheat noodles. And I got this because, number 1, I am from the land of lobster in Canada, but also 2, it comes with convoy sauce, which is uniquely Singaporean. And so I looked up what it was before I got here, and now I forget. So I will put right here what it's made of. But in Nova Scotia, when I eat lobster, I don't like anything with it. I don't even like butter with it. no butter, no garlic. I don't like anything messing up my taste of lobster. And so I want to know what it tastes like here. It's so tender. It's a very light flavor, a little bit sweet. It really complements the lobster without taking over, which is exactly what I love. We are now descending from our second rotation. So we have half a rotation to finish this, and then we move on to dessert. For normal people, this is plenty of time. For us, because we've been so busy taking photos and video, we have to actually pry ourselves away from the view to eat this food, and it has been fantastic. Keep in mind, so far we've had caviar, we've had foie gras, we're now having lobster, we had beet smoked king salmon, and then Alan just gave me a big portion of this Wagyu beef. It's so tender. Yeah. Also just a little bit sweet. Last course, we are so sad. This is our final rotation and the dessert looks so good. I already dug into it. It is a chocolate, what did you call it? A chocolate bomb?
Banana chocolate dome.
Banana chocolate dome. And it is so chocolatey. I don't love really rich sweet desserts, but this is just like pure chocolate without all the sugar. It's delicious. There's a little bit of banana in the middle, and oh, that and a little bit of tea is the perfect way to end this. We just left the capsule, and that was so sad because it was so nice to talk to Emmy. Love that Indonesian connection. The views were spectacular and the food was really good. A lot of times you do things like this and the food is not really a focus, but this was definitely an amazing chef. Just goes to show you that Singapore is a food city, and
it's a luxury. What we have, what we done now is very luxury.
Yeah, 5-star. 10 out of 10. You should definitely do it. If you want to splurge, this is the time to do it. But we're not done, because with this, we get a ticket to the capsule, which I think is where everybody else behind us is going, which is about the history of Singapore. So let's go. This place is so cool. I thought it would just be like a boring history capsule, but I did want to come here because on the first day, I had lots of questions for Alan about Singapore, how it fits in with Malaysia, China, why there are so many Indonesians here, how did people from India end up here? And so he had answers to some questions, but it gives you history, but it's so interactive and lots of fun. We are really actually enjoying this part. What an amazing end to an amazing day. Singapore has really exceeded all of our expectations, and I'm so glad that we decided to stay here a week. That means in the next video, you're going to see us eating in Chinatown, learning all about it. Cannot wait to eat more. So we'll see you then.